Welcome back, everyone, to the most fabulous podcast there is. I said welcome back. This is the first one. Welcome back doesn't make sense, but welcome anyway. Uh, Today, we have two guests with us. First, we have Pika, and then we also have
Hello, everyone.
Zeldagmr232, also known as Pizza Boy. So, Detective Pikachu is coming out May 10th of this year, like less than a month away at this point. They've released. I think the final footage they released was the introduction to all of the Pokemon. I think there were like 20 or something in there. What do you guys think about like the realistic Pokemon? Do you think they're weird? Do you think they're creepy? I've heard a lot of mixed opinions.
They're kind of cool.
They're pretty all right. I mean, I do kind of like the CGI slash like real life aspect of it instead of all the anime cartoonish things.
Yeah, the one thing I always thought was weird about it in the movies was when they gave them the 3D models without any details on them, like hair or like real claws or anything like that. I know Charizard
Mm,
looks amazing,
Yeah.
but I've heard some
Charizard
people.
looks glorious.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why, people are freaking out about Jigglypuff being fluffy. I don't know what they would have expected it to be like. It's not, well, maybe skin, but it's definitely supposed to be fluffy.
That'd be worse.
It really
Way
would be.
worse.
Yeah, I've heard mixed opinions, mostly on Jigglypuff. And Ryan Reynolds was definitely an interesting choice for Detective Pikachu. I
I was
swore.
kind of hoping for someone like Danny DeVito.
Yeah, a lot of people said Danny DeVito. And I
Yes.
don't remember. There was a reason I think to why he didn't get signed on to that, but I think Ryan Reynolds still ended up being a good choice based on the
hmm
trailers. It sounds like
Yeah,
he's delivered some of his lines and everything pretty well.
Yeah.
And then then there's the fact that it may or may not be exactly the same thing as the Detective Pikachu game that came out. It's it's
I mean,
it's
it's gonna be better than the Mario Brothers movie. That's for
oh
sure.
yeah, that was terrible.
yep.
I used to like that because of how bad it was, and I watched it a few times. But then after like the third time, I realized how bad it was. I
hmm
think
I used
uh
to actually like it until I realized how bad it was.
yeah, this is gonna be there was another video game movie that was supposed to be really good. I can't remember what movie it was, but it had really high
Sonic.
no, it wasn't the Sonic one. It was an older one. It came out already.
Oh,
It was a video game movie that it actually had decent ratings, and it wasn't a great movie, but it was okay enough that it was the best of all video game movies, because most of them were just terrible. But this one I think is the first like
hmm
solid video game movie that's coming out.
What was
And
it about, though?
I honestly can't remember. It was a report I read online. I think Rotten Tomatoes gave it a score, and that's why it was it was like 50% or 60%, but compared to all other video game movies that had come out at the time, it was just like atrocious. Like all the other ones were just terrible.
People really try to like put so much personality and uniqueness into video game movies, but like they just come out as a big clusterfuck,
One
you
one
know, because they
yeah,
they come out super terrible
yeah,
and people hate it, and then the company's like, oh shit, we lost millions of dollars just like posting
except for
a
the Mario
posting a
Brothers movie.
the
They
Mario Brothers movie.
it was atrocious, but the guy made a lot of money based on the fact alone that it was just terrible. It was genius. It
I
gave a horrible
mean,
name for video game movies, but it was pretty genius.
the same thing for the Sonic movie coming on later on. I've heard mixed opinions about that. Like first of all,
Oh
starting
yeah.
with Sonic's design, like I found it to be too humanoid.
Yeah,
Like
it
I
definitely
found it to
was.
be like it looked like Sonic was a dude in a suit, just reskinned with more fur. He's wearing Nikes for God's sake.
Yeah,
What?
it's definitely weird.
But but yeah, I found it to be way too humanoid.
I think
So
one of the reasons they started with that, like there were always rumors, but as soon as Detective Pikachu started releasing stuff, they started trying to release stuff too. Just because I guess they're
Hmm.
just like competitors at heart, just trying to outdo the other one.
Yeah.
I think Nintendo has more resources though, so they'll probably be able to
yeah.
outdo Sega like 9 times out of 10.
I mean, there
hmm
have been some pretty good video game movies. Like there was Advent Children. Final Fantasy. That was a
Yeah,
good one.
Advent Children. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, there
Prince
are
of
some.
Persia. Prince of Persia
Prince
was
of
good.
Persia. The Castlevania anime is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat. I guess
Mortal
I did like
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
Devil May Cry had an anime. Bayonetta Bloody Fate was alright. You
Yeah.
know.
Yes, some of the things like they really hopefully what I hope
And
that
then
they
they were
nail is like the introduction to the movie. They really need to figure out how to, or they already did. It's coming out in like a month, but hopefully they introduce the characters well. That's probably going to be one of my biggest hopes for it. Because if they just,
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be hard for me to be disappointed with the movie personally, just because I started out. So I started out playing Fire Red and Leaf Green for the Game
Mhm.
Boy. So, I mean, it was the remake. They're still my favorite games in the series. So that was not the first ones, but compared to what they have now in like video games, even just Pokemon games, it's insane like how much it's advanced. And I
Yeah.
I was just excited for the
Yep.
movie without knowing the plot, without knowing the characters or anything. Just the fact alone that I can look and see, there's Pikachu, there's
Yeah.
Bulbasaur, all that stuff. So I think,
There's the glorious looking
oh
Charizard
yeah,
and
Charizard looks
a
amazing.
flu-
I'm really hoping
fluffy
that
Yeah.
Jigglypuff.
I'm
Charizard
hoping
looks
that
really good.
Jigglypuff is like the owner of the club or something. I've also seen theories that Jigglypuff is the one from the original anime, the first season, where it would sing people to sleep and
Yeah,
draw on their faces with the markers. It was something
yeah.
about the
I've
mic.
heard theories that
Yeah.
the Pikachu in the movie, Ryan Reynolds, is the same Pikachu. It's Ash's Pikachu.
I
I've heard
did,
that
I
theory.
did, I did see that. Yeah. I think the Jigglypuff one definitely has some more ground to it because it's holding the specific style and shape of like the microphone the one in the cartoon did. I guess the Ash's Pikachu
Yeah,
one is definitely still possible with the like just the like they just want to throw a big twist on it, you know. I think
yeah.
Mewtwo is in the trailer.
Like,
That's going to be interesting to see how they play that
oh
out.
yeah,
I haven't seen anything rumors related to Mewtwo, but it's definitely interesting that Mewtwo is in the movie of all Pokemon. I assumed that
Hmm.
it would just be like based just with Pikachu and just with finding, Tim's dad and all that stuff. But it's
Well,
going
I
to
mean, they did base like all like not all of it, but like some of it off the game. For
Yeah.
example, the whole premise of the game was to find Tim's dad.
Yeah, I knew that part was definitely the game.
Charizard, like all the Pokemon were in the game, and they tried like to add more Pokemon, like Ivysaur,
Oh, yeah,
Squirtle.
yeah.
I think I saw a Squirtle in there.
Squirtle, yeah,
Yeah,
Squirtle was in
Um,
there. They added a
there were
whole bunch.
multiple.
Yeah,
There were
they
multiple Squirtle. Mhm.
yeah, they released a thing
yeah.
recently. There
Oh,
was
and
their
Mewtwo.
Yeah, it was their final footage releasing before in a month where they put out the movie in theaters, and that one just went through like a whole bunch of different Pokemon. One thing
Yeah.
it's definitely I've
Hmm.
seen, and I've seen other people say it as well. They keep pointing in all the trailers and footage and everything, pointing back to Eevee for some reason, and the fact that Eevee can
Hmm.
evolve into so many different things, and then also pointing back
Yeah.
to Psyduck and his headaches.
Uh-huh.
I know there was one part in one of the trailers where he just kind of screams and knocks down some trees and stuff. Which I mean, that's just a Pokemon move. Honestly, I didn't think much of it, but it's been mentioned
Yeah.
so many times now. It's definitely got to have some kind of like key part to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Eevee, I don't know what they're going to do with Eevee. There was a part in one of those newer trailers. I think it was one of the other trailers they released where Eevee evolved in a Flareon, and then
Yeah.
yeah, Detective Pikachu just said, hey, look, a Flareon. But other times there has been, just I mean, he stated the obvious for those people who like. There's definitely they're trying to appeal to non-Pokemon fans as well, because of course they're going to get Pokemon fans to join in the series, no matter who they are.
I
But
mean, I kind of understand why they didn't put a lot of Pokemon in there. Like, they could have put upwards of 60 or something, but no, they put 20 because they probably didn't want to lose like the track of
Yeah,
mothers taking their
yeah.
kids to the movie.
If they put, because it's definitely
'Cause,
trying to
like,
appeal
yeah,
to a broad range, and if they put
yeah,
too many in there, yeah, then like the people who aren't Pokemon fans would kind of be lost. I mean, I know some people who aren't Pokemon fans who said they were interested in going just for the fact of Ryan Reynolds, and I think that also
uh-huh,
might have been a reason they cast him for the role. It's just
yeah,
in all the movies he's been in, people see the name recognition and they think, "Oh, Ryan Reynolds, it's another Ryan
Yeah,
Reynolds movie. Must be pretty good."
Deadpool, Green Lantern.
Yeah, all that
He
stuff.
was in the what else?
Well, I know
Deadpool,
Deadpool
Green
2.
Lantern,
I don't know if
Deadpool
that counts.
2, Once Upon a
Yeah, Once
Deadpool,
Upon a
all the
Deadpool came
Deadpool
out.
movies.
Yeah,
Like he's a really
name
funny guy.
recognition
I like him.
definitely for adults
And
and older like audiences that'll get them drawn in, I think.
but then again, the movie's rated PG.
Oh
So,
yeah, I heard it got knocked down to PG.
yeah.
I
It was rated PG-13, and I heard a bunch of rumors it was going to be rated PG-13, but then they knocked it down to PG.
Yeah, I
I
think
know
that's to keep more of like the
I
kids
know
in it.
Pikachu,
yeah,
he says hell once, and I think that's like the tamest
That's
swear
the
word I've ever
yeah.
heard. He's
It's
like,
def
"Get me the hell out of here!"
Yeah,
And
when
then I'm
he's in
like, "Oh,
the Charizard with the cage.
yep."
Yeah. I thought they were gonna go like that was their one off and maybe like they were gonna use something else with like a villain or something, but it kind of makes sense they knocked it back down to PG because they didn't want to. I'm
Yeah,
assuming they didn't want to scare away the younger audiences or the parents of them at least.
because then again, it is a Pokemon movie, and
Yeah, I
Pokemon
mean,
is a kids anime,
yeah, it's a kids
so
thing to begin with. Yeah, for younger audiences. I think it's
you don't want
definitely
to
hmm
pull a you
the
don't want to pull a Michael Bay and ruin their childhood.
Oh yeah, they're definitely walking a fine line, and I think they're doing it well. Of line between making it too kiddie and all the older audiences not seeing it, and making it too adult and all the younger audiences not seeing it.
Yep,
I think they're doing a good job of staying like in between the lines for that. But based on what I've seen,
yeah, yeah,
I think they're showing like either they're showing just the right footage to get everyone interested, or hopefully the whole movie's going to be like that, and all the all that stuff is going to be interesting.
it's not Detective Pikachu, it's Pokemon Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, so
Like for some reason.
it's probably they always say that. I thought they were just going to have the logo up there, but I think
hmm
it might not be based exactly on the games. I feel like it might be just loosely based on the games. But it
Yeah.
definitely makes sense they start off with this because this is totally experimental real life Pokemon movie. But it makes
hmm
sense because Rhyme City is like a contained place. It's not like an entire country or an entire continent.
Yeah. Yeah.
I saw some rumors they were going to do a Pokemon Red and Blue movie, or they were going to try to
Mm.
if this was successful enough. But I'm not sure. There are a lot of people that said if they did, the regular plot for a Pokemon game just would not work because there's no gameplay aspect, and the regular plot's really it's not that complex or anything for a Pokemon game. You know, bad guys steal some
Yeah. I mean,
Pokemon. Yeah, it's
it
they.
wouldn't really fit in like a movie.
Oh
It would fit
yeah,
in a lot like a TV series because that makes sense.
yeah, and
Um.
in the game Detective Pikachu even played. It wasn't really a game necessarily. It was more like a really interactive novel. It was
Yeah, like a
yep.
yeah.
Telltale. It was a Telltale game,
Oh yeah.
kind of.
Not quite that advanced, but yeah, I
No.
see what you mean. Yeah, it was
Yeah, that was
totally
Nintendo's attempt.
yeah. Like, you can make choices, but in the end, you're going to get A and B are going to be the same, but maybe C differs depending on what you did
Right.
earlier. Yeah.
Uh huh.
But I
It's all
wonder what
about
they're going to
choice.
Yeah, I wonder what they're going to pull off. The Mewtwo is still really interesting. I don't know how they're going to put that in there without making the movie seem too intense. There were a couple parts I
Yeah,
saw in the trailers where like the ground was lifting up or, colliding with the trees and everything. But
yeah, that was awesome.
it was awesome,
Yeah.
but I'm afraid it's just a little doubt that I have is they might make things like that too crazy for like, oh, I'm gonna love the movie like no matter what just because it's real life Pokemon. But I think some people who aren't necessarily Pokemon fans might it might be a little too extreme if like 1 second they're just running in through the trees and the next second the land's lifting up to collide with them or whatever that is. The Greninjas are also
Yeah.
very interesting. I think they look pretty. They look a little weird, but they definitely look cool. I think the best part, the part I'm looking forward to the most, is in the club with the underground fight club. That
Yeah.
definitely looks like the most interesting piece because I think they have the Charizard. So Pokemon fighting, in even because it's Pokemon, it's not illegal or anything. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering, and that definitely didn't look like a regular gym or anything. So I'm wondering why they needed to go underground. I'm thinking maybe like it's illegal betting or something or gambling. That's my best bet. But then he threw
Mm.
Pikachu in there, Detective Pikachu for some reason, which I'm also wondering how he's gonna like. He's facing a Charizard, and one thing he said
Yeah.
for the that I remember for the Ashes Pikachu thing, that theory was that he said something like he's dealt with this guy before, which wouldn't make sense if he's freaking out so much about the Charizard in the first place.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of good theories on it. There are definitely some weird ones that just make no sense, but there's definitely some good theories. And I think
Definitely.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think this was a good
I
move.
really, yeah,
Mhm.
like I really like the Ash's Pikachu theory
Yeah,
because I think that could be true,
I think there's
and the Jigglypuff theory, I think that
yeah,
could be true too.
I think if one's true, then the other's probably like if the Ash's Pikachu one is true, the Jigglypuff one is probably true, but maybe not necessarily the other way around. But they might do something where it actually is Ash's Pikachu and we just have to figure it out, by ourselves. They don't just tell us at the end or anything like that. But it would make sense if both of those ended up being true in the movie because, Ash's Pikachu and that Jigglypuff, the specific one, they've met, dozens upon dozens of times, That would make sense if they ended up both being true. It's going to be whatever that ends up being. It's definitely going to be very interesting. But no matter what, I think real life
Mhm.
Pokemon, coolest thing. Definitely a wise choice from Nintendo. They ended up,
Yeah.
yeah, they got a lot of good products and stuff out too. Like the real life
Yeah.
Pokemon cards, they got those out. They have Detective Pikachu. Well, they have plushes out now. They're definitely making like loads of money, and the movie hasn't even been out yet. And then they started that thing. If you get a movie ticket, you get a very specific Detective Pikachu card that you can only get with a ticket. So they started that to try and
Cool.
get some more people to get tickets. I'm still going. Anyway, I'm gonna try to put out a review because I'm gonna see it May 10th when it comes out. I'm gonna try to put out a review that night, like spoiler free, so like people can figure out whether it's something they want to see or not. Because it's definitely walking that like line between older audiences and younger audiences. I think
I feel like one of like two of the Pokemon I'm actually most excited for are like Greninja and Ludicolo. I actually really like Ludicolo.
I didn't see him. Which one was he? Was he in the trailer?
Yeah, I mean he kind of looks like Psyduck except he has a little sombrero on,
Oh,
which is
yes. I
awesome.
forgot his name. I
Oh,
remember him now. Yeah, I
that
remembered
was it.
all the, yeah,
Oh,
I remember him. Yes, he looks fantastic. The I think the it was called Hi Hat Cafe was where he works. That's going to be
Mhm.
very interesting. So yeah, he was in the trailers. I just forgot his name for a second. But yeah,
Yeah, he's like
he
a
looks
really
really
cool
good.
Pokemon.
He looks very good in the movie. There are some of them that look all right, like Snorlax is all right. You know,
Yeah.
Greninja's okay looking. It looks kind of weird, but it's just how I expected it to look anyway. But I think the
Mhm.
ones with the fur and everything, even though that's just how they're supposed to look, it just acts like or it looks like they have so
Yeah.
much more detail added onto them. Like, yeah, Ludicolo
Mhm.
is definitely one of my favorites. I think they just nailed Pikachu. They did a fantastic job with his design. And I think one of the reasons they did so well was because they got who was it? It was that guy. Do you remember those real life Pokemon images that came out on the internet a while back?
yeah,
Yeah,
those.
yeah, they hired that guy to help them design the real life Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
that's one of the reasons that they
He
look.
did. He did a. He did an okay job with some. Some of them look absolutely fantastic, like Mewtwo and
Oh,
Charizard
oh yeah, they look
and
amazing.
Pikachu. And Others look kind of weird, like Greninja, and just straight creepy, like Mr. Mime.
Oh yeah, Mr.
And
Mime's a little weird.
Lickitung. No, no.
Lickitung,
I don't really like
Lickitung. I
Lickitung's
mean,
design.
it's kind of just the design of
It's
the
like the only
Pokemon,
one. Yeah,
but
it's like the only one I don't like.
Lickitung just looks. The skin looks kind of artificial a little bit compared to the rest of the Pokemon and everything. And Snorlax looks a little underwhelming. I don't know if they just didn't make him like big enough or something, but I always just imagined him to be like not massive, but at least bigger than what it was shown in the trailers and stuff. I mean, his fur and everything still looks really good. It's just a little underwhelming. I thought he'd be like a little bigger at least, or have some more
Yeah.
defining features. But I think they did a pretty good job on most of them. And it's been like a long
Especially
time.
Charizard.
Oh yeah, Charizard's
looks
the
really
best, like
awesome.
without a doubt, hands down. He's
Uh-huh.
maybe him and Ludicolo are the best, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, those
I
are.
mean, character-wise, Ludicolo, but like design-wise,
Yeah,
I think
the
Charizard's
design.
amazing.
I feel like it's gonna be interesting how they show off all these Pokemon without making it seem like it's just to show off the real life Pokemon. Which I mean it kind of is, but without just going through like a list of all these different Pokemon, just showing each one. It's going to be interesting how they figure out how to sprinkle them throughout the movie without making it too kind of in your face, making it. But based on the movie, it looks really good. I like the fact. I really like that Tim, the main character, that he tried to be a Pokemon trainer and it didn't work out. I think that's a really
Mhm.
good
Mhm.
character thing they added for him. I definitely.
Bulbasaur looks good.
Bulbasaur looks pretty good. I feel like some of them are just kind of in the movie just to be in the movie, just to add a couple more Pokemon in. But definitely
Yeah.
Ludicolo is going to be a big role. Greninja, or maybe not a big role, but at least have some screen time, because based on
Mhm.
the trailers, they were discussing stuff in the Hi Hat Cafe for a little while at least, because there are a bunch of different
Yeah.
like shots of them in there. Charizard, I think, is going to have a big
Yeah.
role, but maybe not as much screen time necessarily. But he was definitely in
Mhm.
that club, the Underground Fight Club. Apom, that's another one that's going to have a big role, I think,
Yeah.
because in all of the
Definitely.
in all of the trailers and all of the teasers and everything, he was in every one, just like Eevee was. So I think Eevee's definitely going to
Yeah.
have something to do. Apom's probably going to be the first Pokemon to go crazy. It looks like.
He looks kind of weird though.
His hand tail kind of looks a little like freaky, but I mean it
Yeah.
looks like it's supposed to, like it's realistic. So
Mhm.
they at least got most of them, like the realistic parts, right to that kind of stuff.
One of
Oh
the
yeah,
reasons I took up the Pikachu theme for my Discord name was because of hype for Detective Pikachu.
yeah.
Because
Mhm.
I was actually in a server and somebody posted a picture of a sad looking Pikachu, CGI Pikachu just looking up,
Oh yeah, that's from the
and then
first trailer.
yeah, and then I used this as my profile picture, and then I changed my name to Pika.
Yeah, I think the
And
movie's
ever
gonna be
since
good.
then, the Pikachu train just took off. And
Yeah.
then I heard about Detective Pikachu, and I was like, "Oh shit, I want to see this,"
Oh
you
yeah,
know,
it looks crazy.
because it looks awesome.
It looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't think it's gonna be possible for me to be disappointed too much personally, just because it is real life Pokemon, and I've been waiting, like forever. Like I think a few years ago, I think it was 4 or 5, there was a CGI trailer released. It was called like Pokemon Apocalypse or something. The CGI Pokemon were not very good. They definitely did not look accurate. Like Meowth looked alright, but the rest of them did not look very much like the games at all, and it looked like it was pretty terrible, the trailer, especially in comparison to stuff these days, and like the plot felt kind of like cliche. But the reason it was so popular was just because it was real life Pokemon, even if they didn't look that great other than one or two, and even if the plot of the trailer itself alone didn't wasn't that in depth or anything. It was just so popular, it got like so many views just for the fact that it was real life Pokemon, and that's why that
Yeah, it's like Jurassic Park.
yeah, exactly like that. It's just like, well, Jurassic Park was actually all right. The newer ones, I haven't seen the newer ones. I think those are a little more of like, hey, remember Jurassic Park? Well, you'll like this one. But
Mhm.
Yeah,
I think Detective Pikachu a first step toward in the right direction. I think real life Pokemon can definitely, for the movies at least, pull it off. And I'm wondering, they're releasing, they have real life Pokemon cards out, and I opened a few packs and stuff, and just stuff like Bulbasaur, Charmander, you know Pikachu, Slaking was in there. There are a couple other ones that I got out of that box, but it didn't seem like there are too many. But I'm wondering how many potentially that they continue making, because I think they sell a little better than the regular Pokemon cards, or at least they have been in comparison to how long they've been, going on for. I think that
Hmm.
I'm wondering, because if they keep going in the direction of real life Pokemon, would they ever get rid of cartoon Pokemon completely? I feel like they wouldn't,
Yeah,
and I'm hoping they don't, because I still
Yeah,
think
I don't think that's gonna happen.
yeah, I still think the cartoons, the games, and well, in this case now the movies are all like completely separate things. I mean, I'd be totally all
Yeah.
right if they kept making real life Pokemon movies. I'd keep seeing them, and keep watching them
yeah.
over and over, because it's just yeah, even if the plot's terrible, I think it's just fantastic for the Pokemon reason alone.
Hmm.
Like I think of it as like a reboot to the series. Like
Yeah,
we've gotten used to anime Pikachu, for so long, and then like now we see a real life CGI Pikachu, and we're
yeah,
like,
exactly.
holy
It's like
shit, I want
mind
to see
blowing.
this.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. One of the things,
Hmm.
oh yeah, they're remaking the first Pokemon movie, aren't they doing that? They're remaking that, but it's animated. I think
uh,
I think that was
yeah,
yeah. That I don't think is
I
gonna
think
do
so.
nearly as well as Detective Pikachu. I can kind of get why they made
Hmm.
it, but if anything, I think they should have just like released it a couple months or something before Detective Pikachu, maybe to just kind of remind Pokemon fans, hey, this movie is coming out. I think I still think it might have been a decent choice to like put time and money into, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as successful because it's not really trying anything new or necessarily mind blowing or anything like that. Whereas Detective Pikachu, nothing like that's really ever been tried before or really done before. Whereas the new Pokemon movie that they're rebooting is just a remake of something most people have already seen by this point. So, do you guys have any like, hopes or theories or anything like that that you hope to like see in this movie kind of like actualized?
Ditto.
I hope to see a mention of Ash
That would be
in the
very
movie,
interesting.
like anywhere in the movie. I just hope to see a mention of Ash or Red or any of the like old gen Pokemon
Oh
trainers
yeah,
like
yeah.
Ash, Red,
Misty or Brock or
May,
something.
Brock,
Yeah.
Iris, anybody.
I feel like they definitely would throw something in there, even if it's just like, a name on a ticket or like a name called out, like next in
Yeah.
line and, someone looking exactly like them walks up or whatever. That would be awesome. I think
Yeah,
I think that they would probably it would be smart to add that in there somewhere, just as a fun Easter egg. But it would also get people talking about the movie even more
yeah,
after the hype kind of dies down. Because once the movie's out, even if it's a fantastic movie, the hype that built up to it is kind of simmered down. It's already out. Now you can go watch it and all that stuff. But I think that would be a
Yeah.
good way to get people talking about it even after it's over and after it's kind of done with.
Yeah, I think there should be like some like team stuff, so like Team Rocket, Team Indigo or whatever. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
oh
think
yeah,
that I don't know if in the movie, because I've never personally played the game. I just know loosely about the plot of it. I don't know if there's any like specific evil team or if it's just one guy that they're going after. There's definitely going to be some kind of like entity or something like that. I just don't know if it's going to be like an entire team in the city. It might just be like one guy who's the head of a big corporation or something like that.
It kind of reminds me of like when they made those semi-realistic like Pokemon cards where they're
Yeah,
like,
they put
yeah, it's
the
like
animated
crafting.
ones in the real life background.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I thought those were pretty cool. Some of them just looked weird just because it was like they looked like they were made out of a clay or something like that. But
Yeah.
most of
I
them
have a
most of them
couple
looked
of
good, I
those.
think. Most of them looked good.
I'd like to see like a Reggie. So like
Yeah, nod to him
Regigigas.
somewhere.
No, like the Pokemon, like
Oh, the Pokemon.
Regice,
Oh,
Regigigas.
oh, whoops.
That and Reggie. I do want Reggie
I mean,
Fils-Aimé
yeah. If
in
he was put in
Detective
there,
Pikachu.
I wouldn't, shoot that down. I think,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
both.
that
well,
would.
Mewtwo. I feel like Mewtwo, being as powerful as it is, might be the only legendary or like mythical in the movie. They might mention Mew if they're, trying to figure out where Mewtwo came from or what it is, because I know,
Yeah,
definitely the
they talk about
characters
it
in that
as
movie, at least the main ones or in the main Pokemon and stuff from the trailers and what I've seen, don't know who Mewtwo is or haven't seen it before. We know who it is or what it is, but just because we've played through all the games where there's a Mewtwo, or we know all the backstory and everything. But I like the fact
Hmm.
that the characters in the movie don't know, really what it is. But it looked like, based on one of the scenes where it went like charging through some like blimps or something, and then Pikachu was running around on some of the big balloons in a parade.
yeah,
I think it's gonna
remember
chase
that.
after him or something like that, which will be interesting to figure out why Mewtwo is related to anything going on with Detective Pikachu, and how it would have to deal with his, like, amnesia and mysterious past and all that. All right, now,
It's probably going to be something relative to Ash. I'm
yeah,
probably sure of
if
it.
if that Ash theory is definitely true, then yeah, I feel like they could definitely add that in, and then that Jigglypuff thing would make sense. The Pikachu with the amnesia and everything like that would make sense, even if they didn't tell it,
Yeah.
like, say it explicitly, and if they just, we had to look through the evidence ourselves, but it actually connected together or something like that. I think that would be cool. I'd still enjoy that. You guys have any more questions or general thoughts on the movie before we close
No,
out the
not really.
podcast officially?
No, not really.
All
I just
right.
hope it'll be good
Oh
and worth
yeah,
money.
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. It'll be. I think it'll be great. Just real life Pokemon alone, like I've said before. But great
Yeah,
plot,
I
good
mean, at
character
least.
development would add to it. That's always a plus.
At least they're not like actually making it about like a main series Pokemon game.
Yeah, yeah, that would be weird for like a testing, because it's just testing this out. They have never really done this before. I think they'll definitely lead to some more in the future though, because based on
Yeah.
the success it's already had before it's even come out, I think it's
hmm
doing really well.
But I mean, if the movie flopped, it would be a lot worse if it was main series than it would be if it was
Yeah, it would
like.
take a lot of people away from that.
Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, Detective Pikachu wasn't really like a
Oh
very
yeah,
valuable
it's not a
property
main
anyway.
series thing. That was
Yeah.
definitely heavy. It was good on the plot, but not so good on the gameplay. I think that's I
hmm
think they might have known that in advance, and they were testing how people reacted to the idea of Detective Pikachu first before they worked on the movie. I think that would make a
Yeah.
lot of sense if that's what they intended originally. Well, gentlemen, fabulous guests, it has been quite the successful podcast. We had today on the podcast Pika and Zeldagmr232. All the links will be in the description, of course. I hope all of the fabulous listeners enjoyed this fabulous podcast. Any last minute, last words you guys need to say anything about the movie?
No, not really.
All right.
I'm hype.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's gonna be great. Detective
Yeah.
Pikachu comes
Yeah, it
out
is.
May 10th. I'm gonna go see it. Try to make a review on it. Spoiler free the night of, just to let people
hmm
know, if it's a movie they really want to see. So hope everybody's
Yeah.
enjoyed listening to this podcast. Like I said, all links in the description. Make sure to check them out for the guests today, and I'll see you guys in the next podcast.